Greetings. Welcome to Wonder Night. My good friends, I'm so happy to have you here. It is always fun talking to you, hanging out with you. And to our good people, our listeners, I should say, know you that I'm joined today by Charles Edward Connor III. As a fellow of the third, I love this man. And along with Melanie Mercado Connor as well.
Hello.
As a person who loves witches, I also understand. And so, brother, you man of culture. And so, know you that today I'm joined by performers, writers, and purveyors of healing holistic erotica.
That's the goal.
When I tell you, I couldn't be more interested in this. I'm locked in, and I'm ready to learn a bit more about what you do, why you do it, and how that inspires you to create what you're creating. So first and foremost, to help get started and to help them know a bit more about you, what is currently inspiring you?
All right. So this is like the current muse, yeah.
The current muse, my
right.
friend.
The current one in the pantheon. Darling.
Indeed.
Yeah. I think for me the easiest answer, with regards to hey, what's our current creative project, is a love for and proclivity for alt girls, if I'm being real. Alt girls and witches, that's
it's strong. It's pretty strong. I can't judge that. That's strong.
That's a lot of what I'm about, and that's a lot of what has inspired the current project we're working on. If I'm being real.
I feel like there's a story there, and it takes place in a restaurant.
Yeah, that's a good point. Kind of the conversation that led to this current project. It was
plot. I love this.
Yeah. There's lore here to answer this question, and in this case, it was a little over like a couple of years ago. And we had just kind of had a rough day dealing with a bunch of nonsense. We went out to dinner. And we were just kind of sitting there, like, waiting for the food to arrive, kind of feeling the weight in the day. And the idle thought crossed my mind that it's like, hey, everybody's, it kind of seems like the internet collectively has gotten on board with, like, hey, we like goth girls.
Yes, that's true.
But it kind of seems like, and to me, it's like, hey, I know that there's a lot of arrogay,
Dating sims and whatnot.
So many dating sims.
Right.
Very
and
true.
Like, it seemed really odd to me that like nothing, no games seem to have come out that sort of cater specifically to that taste, that proclivity.
You specifically complained about Monster Prom and how you couldn't even date the witches until the second game.
Yeah.
That's offensive. What?
Yeah. I remember being upset about that.
I would be as well. I understand.
And how it tended to be that there was always like sometimes, well, not always, but occasionally a goth option. And even then, why just the one?
Right. It was always just the one. And it was always sort of they were always sort of pigeonholed into a kind of stereotype of, goth alt girls. And I voiced this idle thought to Melanie.
Which is a mistake sometimes. Because I looked at you and I told you, well, this game doesn't exist because we haven't made it yet.
And then that just kind of led to a lengthy brainstorming session, which led to a design doc, and which led to like a script starting to get written.
If you leave me alone with a computer and espresso, that's what's going to happen.
That's kind of what led us to this current project. And it's like, I want to be clear. This is not something we have done before.
There's a lot we've done, mostly in Ren Fair and theater arenas.
Yes.
This is our first of hopefully soon to be more than a few games of the healing and holistic erotica bent.
Right. So yeah, that kind of led us down this journey that we've been on for a while. That's I feel like that's a very long-winded answer to the question, like, hey, what's the current muse?
No.
Baby, do you have anything that you want to say about your muse?
'Cause I will also then say, I understand alt girls being an extraordinarily powerful, profound, essential muse. Like that, there's no way I can argue that. So I understand.
I
so I
know.
then must ask, is it also a muse for you, and or do you have a separate one and or a connected one?
I mean, when it comes to him, I am choosing to be the alt girl I wish to see in the world. And I think that inspires the both of us quite a bit.
Very powerful.
And my personal muse with regards to not just this project, but many others that I've done, both in just my own acting, my own writing. So it took me a long time to figure out how to vocalize this, but there was a book I read called Anxious People. And there's a sentence in that book that's lived in my head rent-free ever since, and it's nothing happens in a vacuum.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And,
Yep.
you know, that helped me realize, it's intersectionality. I see life as a series of crossings and Venn diagrams where people tend to affect one another more than I think we sometimes want to admit, because doing so means we have to be mindful, responsible, and accountable to ourselves and one another, and that can be difficult at times. And I've realized that everything I write comes from this like desire and root to see, like, get how people interact with one another and see the effects of how those interactions play out. And, that's basically what I was able to do in this game. I was able to write out 6 different romance roots and see those relationships kind of blossom. And something that, Charles, Eddie, love of my life, asked me to do was, hey, for a lot of these dating sims, these characters never really meet. Can you make them feel like a family? Can you make them feel like a coven of sisters? So you'll see characters speak to one another and show up in each other's roots. And you see not just a relationship between the protagonist and whichever witch they decide to romance blossom, but also every witch in the coven's relationship with her sisters and, Supreme evolves throughout the game as well. And that was on purpose. That was so we could see not just through the lens of the player, but through the lens of the world around them.
That is amazing. Not that I, would have experience on the dating. I don't know what these dating sims could possibly be about, but I would imagine if one, played them, they possibly could have the complaint that, why don't my characters happen to interact more often? Why is it just the one protagonist that interacts with all of them? And then they're just silos of experience, usually stuck in their like one room the entire game. And maybe you'll have the one scene where it's all them standing with each other, and that's not actually them interacting. That's the protagonist just viewing who is available to interact with. Yeah. And I am thoroughly, if I was a person who, you played dating sims and would know about those games, would say I am so appreciative of you being aware of something like that.
We'll try and get him on board with this one.
We're working on it.
If I played. But yes.
I'm glad you remembered that specific point, because you brought that up and I'm like, oh yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
You did, because when we were recording recently and there were some lines that weren't recorded, you were like, oh, how did Eliza show up in this route too? I'm like, because you asked me to.
You asked me to.
I'm glad you remember these things.
That's not a bad thing.
Man.
This is why we share the brain cell beer.
Yeah.
That's fair. I will now ask. So
sure.
When having an inspiration, having a muse, what connects you to it? What makes it an important muse for you? Why is it so integral to make this game? Beyond it being something really fun and something you want to experience yourself.
I need to know how alt girls are important to you.
Okay. So we're ganging up on me.
This is important.
Yes, we are.
Integral information.
It's a dating sim, so some of that is absolutely just informed by like, hey, what am I personally attracted to? When you make a creative work, whether you intend to or not, you inevitably leave some of yourself on the page or whatever your medium is. And I kind of feel like you can either do so intentionally or you can do so accidentally. And I feel like when you do so accidentally, it tends to be in a much more, I guess, incriminating way. Like that, like you didn't
That is a word, sir.
Yeah. It's something that you didn't really mean to reveal about yourself, and it tends to be something.
I believe science calls an oopsie.
A big oopsie daisy, and so yeah, a lot of it is
A little bit of a side of oh no.
Yes.
It's what I'm it's what I'm attracted to, and I think a lot of it is. I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this. I think there's more beauty in what is more niche or unusual or unique than what is the standard. And I mean, I think if I say goth girl, we have a pretty solid idea of like, okay, here's what she looks like, but I think it does cover a broad range of, aesthetics for one, but it's more than aesthetics.
So much more.
Which that was part of that conversation we had in that restaurant. You're like, okay, I want one to look, quote, goth classique. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
What other goths are we talking about? And you're like, well, what about cottagecore? It's like, oh, okay, what about goblin?
There's pastel goth as well,
right, yeah.
Cyber goth. It's just a lot.
Sure. And different aesthetics, but, also kind of different ideas that not only inform the aesthetics, but the subculture and how it all kind of ties into, I don't really know how to sum it up other than like alternative lifestyles, which sounds, I think sounds a little bit vague.
It's giving 90s back page in the personals, honestly.
Alternative lifestyle. I love it.
And I think all that is much more interesting to explore than, what is the standard, so to speak.
I thoroughly approve and agree. Which is why we do Ren Fair half the time, I'm pretty sure, as well.
Yeah, there you go.
It's an alternative lifestyle.
I promise you, if you get involved in the Ren Fair scene, you will meet a lot of very different people.
Colorful, indeed.
Very much
Some
so.
of them make erotica. Weird.
That's true. And I through being able to explore that alternative lifestyle, through being able to explore the Ren Fair, being able to even comfortably talk about erotica, significantly matters, because that's something that is still seen as alternative lifestyle, even though like 99% of humans I've ever met has dealt with erotica or sexuality at some point.
Some point.
So like when we're talking about it shouldn't be like, it shouldn't be alternate to talk about it, but no, the reality is we have to kind of be that vanguard talking about it and bring it into the norm and making it something that is available to actually interact with.
Yeah. Boy, do we both have things to say about that later on, but we'll get there.
And, to piggyback off what you were saying and looking and amuse with intersectionality, a big part of writing this game is I didn't want it to operate on porn logic. So, for anyone who's looking for the pizza guy, that's not going to happen here. That's not going to happen.
Don't do that.
But that also meant I need to create a world. I need to create a world where this is feasibly happening. And as Eddie said, it's a coven of witches, so clearly we're going fantasy. And, I remember the conversation we had. You're like, okay, who is going to romance these witches? And do you remember what you said?
Specifically, no, but I know the answer we arrived at.
Give me the vibe.
Okay. This is why I count on you to remember these things. I
believe in you.
But right, so the answer we arrived at is like, okay, what's, at the very least, what's the funniest answer? And it's like, it needs to be someone who is like part of the dominant religion's inquisitorial branch that goes out, finds the witches, and then there's our pro tag. And kind of the answer we arrived at is it needs to be someone who isn't really like a true believer. It's someone for whom like joining the Inquisition was a means to an end, and thus is very much okay with immediately getting on board with like, yes, I want to be a part of their lifestyle.
Makes sense.
And that's where this comes into play, because we're not working on porn logic. We're working on, this is a world with its own variety of cultures and peoples. And now you're not just romancing these witches, you're also helping them dismantle this force that's persecuting them.
I love that there's the good lore behind it and something that makes you want to actually keep learning what is happening in the world too.
Right. I remember, like,
the main villain, who he voices, by the way, is a mix between Inspector Zenigata from Lupin the Third and geez, it's escaping me. Who else?
I mean,
I wrote him and it's escaping me.
The way the character is shaped up, it's very Claude Frollo.
It is very Claude Frollo, yes.
Okay.
So between those extremes, and we're looking at someone who is zealous, but also hints at prior experiences he has had. So he's not fully in on just the one side either. Like it's a mix. Like when I was writing this, I wanted to reflect things that we see in real life in this fantasy world, but still have it be escapist enough to have fun playing.
Love that. Absolutely. With him being no, I'll ask that later as we get more into the game.
We'll get there.
Sorry.
Sure.
So then going into, so with that and with being able to, again, implement a lot of the things that have been kind of affecting, influencing, and building that purpose for you, what beyond the current and of course built up love of alternate girls and alternate women and alternate characters, what kind of personal purpose has kind of crafted and created the ventures of creativity that y'all get into? Because I've known you at Ren Fair now technically a few years. Literally have sword fought with you. Talk history, talk armor, talk knights, talk gaming, talk everything creative, talk anime, talk cartoons, talk movies. We can talk about literally everything geeky under the sun. And so what type of what drives from your past do you believe have kind of created where you are today? And again, if you are comfortable sharing, because I know there's...
Handsome, I think this is the one thing that we actually share the brain cell on, so we can tag team this one.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm going to hope you're right about this, because I know what my answer is, right?
I usually am.
So for me, it's very difficult for me to put into words.
Okay.
That's why I'm here. Hi.
But the best way I can describe it is the like MCU scene that has become mimetic of Thanos like reaching into a box, pulling out the Infinity Gauntlet and just saying, "Fine, I'll do it myself."
We have a habit of seeing something missing, and both of us looking at one another and going, "We're gonna fix this, aren't we?"
Right.
As an Astarion fangirly in Baldur's Gate 3, a Genu lover from K-pop Demon Hunters, I am deeply intimately familiar with I can fix him.
Quick tangent. If anybody's been paying attention to what I've been saying so far, if anybody would like to guess as to which is my preferred romance in Baldur's Gate 3, yeah.
But I thought I was God's favorite princess.
But anyhow, like the
leave those in the comments.
Getting kind of back to the question, like one of the earliest memories I can think of where that thought process came into play was after like an anime convention that we had been to well over 13 years ago at least.
Oh yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah.
And there was a panel we were going to see that we were really excited about that turned out to be kind of a bust.
Oh no!
It wasn't exactly a no-show, but there was like a lot of lack of preparation, not really a lot of good signage. It was one of those moments of like, oh man, like we blocked out an hour for this.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, I feel that.
And then it was just sort of like, man, I bet we could do better. and that's how we got into anime convention paneling for a while.
I love that. Okay.
We spent a few years just looking at different media, specifically Magical Girl anime, Persona 4. I did a whole panel on that, Persona 5 when it came out as well, and just the evolution of Eastern and Western styles of storytelling in animation and how, animation today went from like episodic sell toys to these have plot arcs and spoiler warnings.
I love that. Actually, I would like, if allowed, to ask a bit about that.
Sure.
What are some of your opinions on? Do you like the more episodic nature of anime, or do you prefer? I shouldn't say like. Do you prefer where there are arcs, and you'll have 10, 20 episodes that are one arc and they'll go on? Because I know a lot of Western media is just episodic works, and I know that when Steven Universe Adventure Time came out, though they had episodic moments.
They did.
They really worked to create actual arcs in their story. And you if you binge them, there is a consistent story going on. There are small points here and there throughout every episode that let you know the story is progressing. The world itself is actually progressing. There's wars and conflicts going on in the background. There's characters with whole plots happening. Go ahead.
Should I start?
Go for it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I am going to probably give away around what my age is, because my platonic ideal for this is rooted pretty heavily in like late 90s anime that didn't take off in America until like the early 2000s.
That's fair.
Where,
That's fair.
you know, I'm thinking about shows like Cowboy Bebop or Trigun, where
So the Toonami era is what you're saying.
yeah, where
We put the elder and elder millennial. Thank you very much.
you absolutely have nice, fun, self-contained episodes, but like for Cowboy Bebop,
There's an overarching plot.
Oh, yes.
Things are
There's
happening.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
every episode, yeah.
specific episodes where major characters' plot arcs advance.
Mhm.
Like, you know, for I forget which ones they are for Spike, but like for kind of the main character Spike in Cowboy Bebop, it's like the first episode, the fifth episode, the mid-season 2-parter, and
Ooh.
then it's like the 2-parter finale. It's like, that's Spike's big arc.
Oh,
There's
yes.
a whole bunch of more episodic stuff in the middle.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, the small handful of episodes scattered across the series where you get Faye Valentine's arc.
Very
I think,
similar to that.
so yeah, I think that's my platonic ideal, because I think what, you know, as you mentioned, shows like Adventure Time and Steven Universe, and I think that format is good too, where you start episodic,
Yes.
and then when it becomes clear, okay, this show has caught on, it's got a fan base.
There's lore, yeah.
It's not getting canceled.
It's
Like
not
we
getting
can
canceled.
keep moving.
Then it goes way heavier on
the plot, the lore,
and the lore and all
background characters.
that. And I think that's fine, that's good, but I think once you get really into the weeds of the plot and the lore, you lose something when you're not really doing the self-contained episodes that are just kind of fun on their own. And so, yeah, that's kind of why I like, you know, not that everybody hasn't already glazed Cowboy Bebop, but
Oh my God.
Endlessly, I promise. It's all right.
but it's one of the reasons why I like that format, where the arcs are kind of baked in, but they're interspersed nicely with episodes. You know,
It's evocative of life, you know.
Yeah.
Serious things happen, but also random adventures
Episodic.
in between.
Very, very good analogy on that. I think that's a good point too to mention. It is very this of life. You have the important, very important plot points, but there's like 1,000 other days happening that it's just go to work, drink water, make sure you brush your teeth,
right,
go to work again, curses, you gotta come home, and then random meteor falls into your front yard. Fine, but
filler episode, same episode 10 episodes later, but there's a guy that wasn't there before, and now he's part of your crew.
What are you gonna do?
Shout out to Don.
Right. That's I think that's a good example of a more recent show that I think has a really good plot structure. And I mean, granted, it's working off its manga, but you know, where it's, you know, a season isn't necessarily a single arc. You know, there's arcs that are a small to large handful of episodes, and then it's done, and then it kind of moves on. And the kind of more low-key moments are nicely paced and nicely blended in with the, you know, higher stakes fights with ghosts and aliens.
Do agree. Yeah. Do agree. I think Don does very good at honestly creating a bit of the episodic feel, especially with how many characters randomly join the team, because I swear like a dozen characters now in the main squad, and there is no way you could explain the story from episode 1 to episode 20, or sorry, even chapter 20. There is no way you could effectively, hear this epic of how we have an alien, a ghost, 3 other types of aliens, 4 other types of ghosts, this one potential half alien ghost, maybe person, I don't know yet, we'll figure it.
Right.
It is difficult. But through their way of doing the episodic nature of it and still having those integral plot points every episode, it still creates it.
I think kind of the secret sauce for Don is the The supernatural threats are, they tend to be shorter arcs and are largely episodic. And the longer series spanning arc is that Don to Don is secretly a romantic comedy.
You want these two goobers to get together so badly.
When I tell you this is one of the greatest romantic comedies I've seen in the past few years, my heart the whole time is just like, please, just please.
Yeah, the dokie is dokying. It's a lot.
Right? Like, oh my gosh.
Ultimately, the pathos of that show is you want to see Okarun and Momo.
That's all I want. Like, I get there's
all we
aliens
want in life.
I get there's an entire alien battleship fleet. I get there are supernatural forces that could crush the Earth itself and the fleet. That's neat. But when they finally hold hands, right? But when they finally look in each other's eyes,
screaming, crying, throwing up,
my
all
heart,
of it.
my feelings, all of it, the entire time. It's so good.
That's I think that's or at least my extremely lengthy answer for like, hey, do I like episodic or arc focused media better?
Yeah, and I mean, to add to that, I like what adds to the story. I like what adds to the narrative. You're going to have, depending on different audiences, different cultures and how they receive their media. And remember, like, animation still has very much this idea of this is for kids. Said people stocking anime they shouldn't have been stocking in the kids section in Blockbuster back in the day. And no, it's not just for kids. And I feel like there are appropriate times for episodic stories to grow into more arc and narrative-based like plots, especially for, say preteens, teens, and moving forward. I remember one of the initial experiments for that was Gargoyles back in Disney.
Yes.
And if you walked into Gargoyles in the middle of a season and didn't watch anything going on beforehand, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. Bless them. They tried. But things are happening that meant that Gargoyles couldn't be shown in its intended order. So that's one of the pitfalls of doing arcs. But when it's done right.
And then back in the day, of course, even like when we didn't have streaming services, it really was significantly harder to binge a show.
Right.
And so
that's why episodes made sense.
You had to have each episode be a contained plot. It reintroduces all the characters, reintroduces all the locations, has an issue, handles the issue, then reintroduces this is how all the characters conclude their issues. And that's fine. That's why we get like Dexter's Laboratory is one of my favorite shows. That's why we get a lot of the classic Cartoon Network shows. Yeah. Very contained episodes. They'd have the name, really cute, like painted art for the beginning. Yes. And then they'd have that one episode and they'd have the name for it and it's done. Nowadays, yes, there are streaming services. Kids can sit down and say, hey, Mom, I want to see all of Steven Universe, and all episodes are available to them.
Right.
You have to take account for that.
And with the story being more narratively based like that, it makes them sit down and watch longer.
Yes. Nice.
Because like, whatever, this is episodic. I can just pick it up, whatever. No, now you're invested. Yes. Now you have to see it to the end and possibly the next season because we're going to leave with a cliffhanger.
Oh, come on. You know it. And now when we introduce new characters too, there's a lot more work, I think, at making redeemable villains, making redeemable characters. And I, not to keep on bringing in Steven Universe, but it's a prime example. Literally all of the gems are the villains, technically. Yeah. Until, you start learning more and more about them. They themselves learn about consciousness from humans and what having empathy and emotions means and how that works out.
Oh, you're not ants.
And wait a second. Oopsie. You're also people. Yeah. Crap. And it builds up.
Yeah. I think I know a lot of people kind of complain about Steven Universe as it went on, and the narrative kind of got messier. But I think one of the things that's interesting and like one of the show's strengths is I think it's a really good show at exploring. Hey, just because somebody is part of this, evil or bad guy society, it doesn't necessarily mean they are terrible people in their own right.
Just because you're a bad guy doesn't make you
are a bad guy. Thanks,
Steven Universe does a good job at making the gems power structure the villain than gems necessarily.
That power structure, yes.
And the gems are all villains until they learn to experience life beyond the power structure they understand.
And then what do? They dismantle the power structure.
Immediately.
Immediately
realize the issue. Yes. Oh my God.
Right. And while it's not necessarily the most realistic thing, but I think there is some value to Steven Universe in particular being a male hero who approaches every problem with like, no, I just need to talk to these people and try and make them understand.
The masculine urge to just be kind.
Right.
It's very punk rock, as they say this summer.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Which, yeah, right. In an age where the most recent Superman movie came out, maybe
Right.
maybe Steven
I
Universe.
don't need to fix him. Whatever's wrong with him is fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. What?
Maybe Steven Universe's approach to heroism would be better received.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I'm glad you brought that up, because for me and my childhood, that was Aragorn. Like the true positive masculine role model, and frankly, the entirety of Lord of the Rings is just filled with maximum positive role models. Fine, but for me and growing up, and again, just talking on the energy you're speaking to, that was one of those examples where it's oh my God, you actually can just be a super kind person who cares about literally everyone else around you and still be considered the manly man you want to talk about. The dude soloed an orc army. That will never be forgotten in the annals of history. My man soloed an orc army, and that solidifies that passion and power that they can be combined. You're allowed to be compassionate. You're allowed to be caring. You're allowed to be loving and adoring, and that doesn't mean you're less of masculine or feminine energy. And I adore that was exactly like you said. That was the aspect of Steven Universe. It's a boy and an entire female race of gems,
Right.
but that's not, that doesn't even become an actual issue in the story. That's a completely separate issue. That's not a separate issue. It isn't an issue in the story. He is a human and they are gems.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually the conversation.
Yeah.
That is actually what's dealt with. And like you said, the power structure and power dynamic of mortals versus galactic civilization implementing, I don't want to say authoritarian rule, but
a little bit of colonialism.
a little bit. And so
I think settler colonialism is a fair comparison.
a little bit,
There's reasons why I chose intersectionality as my muse. She's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. And we are seeing that more and more discussed, I think, in current media.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very happy that intersectionality is being brought up and consistently talked about and consistently shown in these different, I don't want to say backgrounds, I guess just genres, in different genres. It's nice to see it in different genres.
Not for nothing, but just speaking about just the positive masculinity, the non-toxic, that was very much in the forefront of our minds when designing the protagonist for Hedge Knight.
Right.
Because I was trying to think of okay, what are the protags of most of these edogayan dating sims? And how do I make our protagonist someone these witches want to be with?
Would actually want to, yeah.
If they're all like the black cats in that dynamic, who is the golden retriever? And I went for a hero who is fun and goofy and doesn't take things too seriously, but also is emotionally aware enough to understand different social cues and different moments when a joke isn't necessary, but a hug is.
That
Right.
matters.
That
really matters.
one of the things that was very important to us. Is okay, in a setting where these characters have very real, plausible existential threats to their safety, who is the protagonist needs to be someone who is going to help them feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
That matters.
And so yeah, it's
and mind you, they're not there to fix quote unquote issues. It's
No.
never about fixing a person, because people aren't projects, they're people. It's about finding someone that you vibe with and being able to take on life together.
yeah.
That is integral. And what a message.
Healing and holistic.
Absolutely. That directly goes into what my next question was about to be,
Yeah, great.
which was asking about what type of influence are you trying to create in your work? What type of, what points, literally what impactful points do you want to put that emphasis on? And especially that holistic healing, like you've already mentioned, just further ask if there's more points you'd like to actually bring up. What influences are you trying to bring forward through your work and through your game?
You want to get started on this one, baby?
Boy, howdy. Why don't we talk
Please,
about
please.
that time 8 separate people messaged us about what Steam and itch.io are doing over the summer?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Right. So part of the trick is when I was kind of researching,
like different platforms for release.
We were figuring out like, okay, here's the platforms we're going to try and release this game on. And the initial thought was itch.io, which is like a indie all kinds of media platform, and it's a distribution platform for projects that are in development still. And then, hey, when we have enough together, let's we'll throw up like early access on Steam. And as we were putting together that plan, a big to-do happened in July where Steam suddenly delisted a whole bunch of games.
Specifically like adult content games.
Yes.
Oh no.
itch.io went completely scorched earth and removed all media with adult content on it from they didn't remove it, they delisted it. It was still there. It was just basically impossible to find.
Really hard to find.
And that led to a whole to do where it turned out like, okay, they had been facing longstanding pressure from payment processors, it's a whole thing,
right? And that's we're being careful with this can of worms are going to open here. What I can say is, there are games that are out there that depict, sexual situations and sexual dynamics in very, I'm hesitant to call some of them toxic because that kind of goes into kink and I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, especially with fantasy. And at the same time, where are all the games that show loving relationships? Where are all the games that show, mutual respect and fun and the giggling when things kind of go sideways? Like, where are those games? And that's like, I feel like those games can do a lot more good than people may think, because people may look at these and go, oh, well, it's just a sex game. You play, you fap, you throw it aside. And it's like, but I told Eddie, one of the goals for this game, for me, is if people can look at each other and be like, listen, yes, it's porn, but it's got a really good story. Like that's Playboy and the articles.
That's the goal, okay?
Like, it taught me something about myself and other people.
Yeah.
Also was hot, but.
Right. So, kind of piggybacking off that to that end, it's basically we're in a spot where, I absolutely think that media that deals with the darker aspects of sexuality, it has a right to exist. I think fiction is a reasonably safe place to explore that kind of thing. But it's just like it's not the story I want to tell.
And I mean, people have already been telling those stories.
Yes.
This story seems decently new.
Yeah, there's a lot of, especially in the world of erotic games, where it is just kind of like, there's a lot of stuff that delves into the darker aspect of all this. And it's like there's a lot of this out there, man.
Yes. If I was one who ever played dating sims and ever knew about what those were, I'd probably assume that yes, a lot to them do deal with a lot of the
a potential plethora of
them do deal with the darker aspect of we just want a harem anime and people who just want to accept whatever this person is trying to do to them, like that.
And it can, there's a lot out there that gets significantly darker than that without going into too much detail.
Yes, it is.
Because we're not about that here,
right? And
other people can be, not us.
And that's arguably a narratively fair way to create conflict, but it's like, all right, let's make the conflict other stuff. And let's have the sexuality be something that the characters involved actually enjoy and just embrace wholeheartedly.
I cherish that dearly.
As
a person who maybe potentially would maybe want to know more about dating sims if I ever played one.
Who's to say?
I don't know.
Miracles happen once in a while.
And for me, like that, how pervasive some of those darker tropes are in erotic media, for me, I feel like ties a lot into the attitude that, at the very least, like mainstream American media has towards sexuality.
Agreed.
Where it's never sex is something that people can enjoy.
There has to be some punishment in it for someone somewhere for it to air.
Right.
Ooh, frustratingly. I'm directly about to ask you about these outside influences of like how our country and our history has kind of affected how you view these same concepts. So you're naturally going right into it because I also agree that oftentimes like sexuality or erotica or like passion itself in our country, either you are extraordinarily devout religious people who very fairly love each other, or you're just over-sexualized, or you're just some dark like scion of sexuality. And I don't know why it's usually those three things, but anything in the gray area ends up having people judge it based on either you're extraordinarily devout and completely fine and very straight edge, or you're over-sexualized and it's essentially just weird porn and no, I don't want pornography, that's too or oh my God, you're just some dark force and evil person who just wants to explore weird. And like, by God, all three of those seem like extremes to me. Like forcing yourself to be like, yes, I'm the devout, submissive wife to my husband who owns like cooks and does that. That's weird to me also. As weird as people were like, no, I'm only an object only for things and people to utilize me. That's also, both of those seem extreme to me. That's not, one is completely normal and one's just weird. Like, no,
it's
both
of
of those.
It's a deep dehumanization of roughly half to, 2/3 of people who participate in this.
Almost every human I've met is at least somewhat interested in like sexuality or at least wanting passion in their life. Almost every human I've met. Yet, this is one of the conversations that in this country is still very difficult to have and very difficult to just bring up randomly to a person as well. You kind of have to have a lot of setup for it.
And I think it's something that gets, reflected in the media where it's easier to get a scene of assault, quite frankly, into a work than it is to
1,000%
just get a I hesitate to say like a normal sex
scene of enjoyment, scene of pleasure, mutual consent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
like that was another thing too, because we have a working document for this game, and it starts the same way as a Declaration of Independence. That we hold these truths to be self-evident. We did literally write that.
I love that.
And that this is a game which treats consent as a cornerstone of healthy sexuality. Yeah. There is no scene in this game that happens without consent of all parties.
Bless. Consent is one of my favorite freaking words to have learned in my entire life. That has been revolutionary in that it is not just a thing about sexuality. It's a thing about like self-respect. It's a thing about respecting others. It's a thing about how you share and give your opinion. It's about just like even just consent and conversation. And like, I know people get mad at words, but like, I love that people nowadays say, hey, are you able to hold space for this conversation real quick? Like, I want to ask you something heavy, man. Do you have time to hold space for that?
Right. It's considerate.
Like, what? How is that not a nice thing to just ask your friend? Like, your friend can't handle sometimes you telling them about like this horrific, difficult thing. They might be going through something too. And it might be an intense trigger for them when you bring it up.
Exactly.
And it's now actually really nice to just be considerate and ask for consent from people for any aspect of what you want to do around to or with them. Hey, do you want to go get food? Would you like this type of drink?
Are you up to anything later? Like,
Are you up to anything later? I'm not forcing you to go out with me. We could literally just call and talk. We don't even have to go and get drinks. You
do
have
some
options.
parallel play. We're good.
Parallel play is fine. Sew something while I draw. We could just exist around each other. Giving more conversation, options, opportunity. Just don't have to be committed to only what the other person wants. You are also allowed to have an opinion and like desire and things you want to do. Profound concept in our country. You're allowed to actually do what you want to do.
Yeah. And
you're able to hold space for others with the reminder that you also hold space for yourself.
Precisely. What are some of your next goals on this game or the timeline of it in, dealing with these influences, dealing with what your projects and plans are, dealing with how you want to work towards these messages, towards what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you have a convention coming up in Houston.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
You do.
Oh.
So,
you're wearing the shirt there too.
Oh, right. Rep that. Important information.
This
a man
one's
of
near and
culture.
dear to my heart. But right, so as of right now, we are planning to release a public demo in late October, around the weekend of the 24th. At the same time, kind of our project manager, not here, a buddy of ours, and I are going to a convention in Houston, SumiCon, and I'm actually going to be giving a panel that Melanie wrote.
Yes, awesome.
That's going to be about the history of how witches ended up being sexualized.
Please record this. Like, what? My God.
Give that panel, and hopefully the convention will, allow me some time to self-promote. And it's just like, all right, awesome. Hey, I explained to you all that to tell you about this thing that I'm working on.
But you're also giving a history lesson and a media lesson as well.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And to kind of give you the short version of like, hey, how did witches come to be so thoroughly conflated with sexuality? The short answer is a 15th century German incel.
Always is.
It do be that simple. Oh my God.
Yeah, because he was rejected.
God.
Yeah. Whole story I'll get into.
Yeah, we're gonna have another episode about that. Oh my God. Yeah.
A take too spicy for the church.
Please.
That the Pope even told him, take it down a bit.
Brother, please relax.
Right.
Brother, please.
But yeah, that's the next goal. And so that's going to be a public demo, which is going to be a very like early kind of snippet of the game.
Okay.
And from there, kind of like the goals are to secure funding and basically get some more artists. Those are basically our major obstacles at this point.
Yeah, like we've set up a Patreon, so if you end up joining it, you'll get to hear a lot more from us yapping. There are many, many voice acting bloopers.
Yes.
That have been making into content. There's pictures. We're working on getting a Discord set up. Like when we have enough members, hopefully we can do like occasional movie nights. I've got Practical Magic waiting to go for the first one.
Yeah. So that's
awesome.
This is all kind of like part of the plan that we've been setting in motion. But yeah, so since I have some leave to do so, if a healing holistic game, dating sim about witches and goth alt girls sounds up your alley, check out the Patreon. Maybe consider subscribing. Help us fund this project. Help us make it a reality.
Absolutely.
And you can play as a masculine protagonist, a feminine protagonist.
Yeah.
We have non-binary options as well. So we took that intersectionality really seriously.
Yeah, we're gonna add these links in the video. Do not worry about that. Excitement. Not that I've ever played or,
There's also a very cute cat named Nyx. She is fluffy and wonderful and has like the silkiest black fur and the orangest Halloween eyes.
Yeah, we're putting the links. People need to know about this.
It's going to be
really amazing.
Yeah. I feel good about where this is going, and I hope I really hope to deliver something that resonates with people that people enjoy.
Freaking glorious, man. I have to ask, do you potentially have in mind sequels and or other games?
Oh man.
So there was a one-off joke. And
okay.
It's how it starts. There's a one-off joke in one of the roots where one of the witches, like if you decide not to date her, she'll be like, well, Lucy told me I should have a hot girl summer, whatever that means. And we decided, what if a hot girl summer happened?
Please?
So
that's amazing.
It's like, haha, very funny. Cut to him drafting out 6 different nights for this character to date in her hot girl summer.
So, this is all strictly conceptual because no, we have to actually make the first game happen.
So was Hedge Knight.
Right.
So was Studio Witchthirst, which was a joke name, and now it's an LLC.
Right. So now, I'm trying to stay, eye on the prize, make sure we, actually get
You're not wrong.
the first game produced first before we go like, oh, okay, let's make more. But there is in concept a sort of like guiding game where one of the heroines, one of the witches from our current project, which I don't think we've actually named. It's called Hedge Knight. one of the witches from Hedge Knight goes off on her own journey, stumbles into a chapter of an order of knighthood, and has her own
Hot Girl
dating
Summer.
Yeah, please, Lord.
Which is also kind of a look at toxic masculinity, its many forms, and how to best address it.
Okay.
Right.
Because you can't have one of these games without a little bit of healing and truth.
Of course.
So yeah, if that game sounds awesome to you, definitely
We need to make it. Help us.
Definitely subscribe to the Patreon, because we have to get through a whole ass other game before we start making that one.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm already looking for the next game. Please, I would love to see that one. And I'd love to see, frankly, just more of the art of the game. I remember you guys showed me a promo of just the characters, and like that alone had me interested. And I loved the designs of them. So I'm very interested to see more of the like landscapes too.
Right. So
More
yeah,
art
I think,
has been coming in.
Yeah, I think the best opportunity for that is probably going to be the public demo, just because that's, again, later. October 24th.
Perfect.
Demo for Hedge Knight. Download it. Check it out.
And of course, any patrons who want to see some behind the scenes footage and just those sneak peeks we have about 16 posts, and more are happening by the week.
Yeah. So it's going to be just a little bit of a wait, but stuff is coming. Stuff that everyone can see. Again, demo is going to be publicly available. Well, I can show you a couple of things that have been coming out.
I don't want to say not necessarily wrapping up yet, because this can go on for a while also. Sure. But definitely in connecting a lot of what we've talked about, I then, of course, have to ask the profound insight, which is something I'd love to do to every single person who comes onto the show, just to understand a bit more about them and to truly relay a lot of their deep purpose, intuition, desire, whatever, to the audience. When I ask this profound insight, it really is to get an idea of what you're thinking, idea of who you are and what you like dearly want to provide. What is a question you wish and would love for someone to ask you that you could answer with all the love of your soul? Or what is something you wish you could tell any and everyone on earth if you knew that they were able to listen to you?
Do you want to start on this one, baby?
I took notes.
Oh, right.
Of course I did.
Yeah,
very, very ready. Understandable.
We should have her start on this one.
That's fair.
That's very sweet here. Because these are deeply profound questions, and I think for my part with wisdom, I have spent so much of my life forcing myself to be palatable to others. And while there is great value in being a member of a community and compromising so things can be done efficiently and mindfully, I think the biggest mistakes I personally have made have tended to coincide with times I fully denied my needs and well-being for the sake of preserving, false harmony and keeping the peace. Like, at the end of the day, like, I'm Cuban espresso. Like, I'm hot, I'm strong. Great to have at a kitchen table con galleta y chisme. It's not my job to dilute myself so that more people can drink me. It is my joy and honor to be who I am, and those who get it do, and those who don't. And it brings me to the wisdom to share. You can't have real connections, relationships, or communities if you're not true to who you are. And the more you bend to please others, the less of yourself you're true to. Compromise is important, but it's not wise to sacrifice what you need to live for the convenience of others. We as people are allowed to be inconvenient at times, and those who are truly for us are going to understand that.
Bars. Nothing but bars. My God. Ooh. Oh, my heart. My Lord.
If I stayed bending to others, I wouldn't be here talking about erotica I'm making with my husband, To quote something I wrote on Bluesky. Broke. Your midlife crisis is just indulging in like some really old bad habits. Woke. Your midlife crisis is, realizing maybe you're not living the way you want and doing better habits. Bespoke. Your midlife crisis is making interactive occult erotica with your spouse.
Absolutely base, blessed, and beautiful.
I'm not sure I can call that one wisdom, but that's a freebie.
That's
and wisdom. So here we find ourselves.
That's wisdom. Oh my snap. Okay.
All right. Well, I guess I should.
You probably should.
I guess
I've been talking long enough.
I guess I should share some wisdom of my own.
Cool.
Yeah. So this might seem unrelated or tangential, but I promise I'm going to tie it into, at the very least, the project we're working on or some of the other stuff we've talked about. I think the wisdom that I would share if I had the ear of, broadly everyone is if you don't like who you are, you can't change. It's difficult to change who you are in the same set of circumstances that made you who you are. If there's things about yourself that you want to change, there's things that you might need to change about your environment, where you are physically,
where you are mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, where you are mentally and emotionally, and not just the place, but potentially the people in your life as well. As kind of wild and harsh as that might sound to say, right? Because there's a level on which we're still very much the product of our environments and the forces around us that shaped us into who we are.
Nature,
and if you want to change who you are, you might also need to change some potentially core principles of what makes you who you are right now. You might need to at least meet new people, if not change who's in your life altogether. And kind of to tie that back into the project and what we've talked about so far, kind of the heroines of our game are 6 women who, for one reason or another, had to, run away into the woods and find a found family with each other for various different reasons. And their old lives absolutely shaped who they are in oftentimes a lot of negative ways. But, the way that they were able to at least start healing from that is,
with each other.
With each other. As I mentioned, running away into the woods and finding family with each other, as opposed to
who they were, not who they have to be.
Exactly.
Where they came from. So I think that's the profound wisdom that I would share. If there's things about yourself or your life that you want to change, you actually have to do something different, and it needs to be something pretty big.
I think that those two work. I think that those two concepts work directly in tandem. If you need to change something by yourself, it may need to be a big change. And in doing that big change, you do not need to make yourself palatable to other people for your own change.
Yeah, there you go.
Basically.
It's your progress. It's
hey, with our powers combined.
We did it, baby.
We did it,
bro. Yay. I think that
we connected the dots.
I told you.
We connected them.
It's going to work out. I promise. She called it earlier. It's the same brain cell. Don't worry. It's both hemispheres. They just connected. Our powers combined.
It's the same brain cell through different lenses of neurodivergence.
Yes. I love it. The wisdoms both of you gave are directly related to your influence on my own life.
All right.
Frankly, when I had initially met you, I had gone through a whole personal life struggle of losing a lot of friends, and that was its own thing. But in doing that, y'all two were some of the first people I ended up meeting in this new chapter and era of changing my past environment, of changing who I was and the people I was around and the areas that I was going to and the habits that I had built in that friend group. And moving and growing past that required close, dear, familial friends. And it required me finding new friends who I've only ever felt positivity from. I've only ever felt connection and like mind, like wit from.
There you go.
And I want friends I'm able to, every time I'm talking to them, feel either a connection or feel like I'm learning something from them. I've only ever felt that with y'all, and that is something I am immensely grateful for.
High praise. I appreciate it.
We love you too.
It is the praise that is deserved. I promise. That is why I want you on the show. You people, you are important to me. You are people important to me.
All right.
And the wisdom I've gained from just being friends with you is something I know needs to be shared. So thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I'm glad because it sounds like we didn't disappoint.
No, never. I promise you. I've only ever had like good, wholesome, great, or impactful interactions from you.
Cool.
That's just what it's been.
All right.
Thank you for joining us and joining me here on Wonder Night and just being amazing guests.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you so
and
much.
should you decide to dip your toes into dating sims,
if ever I was a person to do something like that,
because he's definitely never done it before.
Never,
Not
ever
at
in my
all.
life. Know nothing about it.
Please feel free to visit Studio Witchthirst at our Patreon and our first game, Hedge Knight.
Pause. Studio Witchthirst.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a joke name that became an LLC.
Chef's kiss, my friend. My Allah.
That's our company.
Allah.
Right.
Powerful. Strong support.
Cool
Melanie,
stuff.
Charles.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Our pleasure.
Have a good one, buddy.
Indeed.